Hello, beautiful light-filled souls. My name is Trisha Barker. You might notice the Dr. Oz hat. I was in New York City on January 9th filming for the show, and it should air February 15th, 2019. So stay tuned. That's the last the Dr. Oz team told me. So if I hear a change in date, I will let you know. Also, thank you for the pre-orders of my book, Angels in the OR. It's been a great month, and I've connected with so many of you who I've given readings to or just talked with briefly, and it has been such a pleasure and such a joy to connect with you. And I want to continue to offer maybe even some group medium readings and some group meditations for those who pre-order the book, because pre-orders help a writer so much. It's just a great way to support me on this journey. And my journey is multifaceted. You know, there's so many different audiences that I want to reach. This is not just a book about a near-death experience, though those who are interested in that, certainly that's the way the book begins, is with the accident and near-death experience. But it's also about a young woman in the American culture and a culture overseas, and what that journey is like, having this spiritual knowledge, but also being a part of this culture. So a college student recently asked me who I was before my near-death experience, and I don't like thinking about it too much because I like this reality so much more. I love this connection to angels and to the light of God, and to that knowing it sustains me in so many different ways. But who I was before was not this outspoken and not this confident and not this happy, really. I was full of a lot of anxiety and deep fear and insecurity. I would say that anxiety ruled my life and my day. I woke up anxious, and I had survived a lot. I'd survived a lot of emotional and physical abuse and in childhood, and yet I was strong and smart, and I got into a good college, and I was determined to make it, and my goals were materialistic in general. And man, my world revolved around me. I mean, it was all about me and my fears of how I fit into this world and my judgments of other people. I remember sitting in a psychology class and looking around at different women, and it was a day when a lot of people were wearing shorts or short skirts. And I remember thinking, oh, I would be so much happier if my legs were as thin as hers. And then I was just obsessed with dieting and diet pills and, drugs that kept me, amped up and skinny. And that obsession was strange because actually, I was a runner in high school and athletic legs are great. And, it was just kind of a weird thing that I got obsessed with in college, these ideas that, oh, if I look this way, or if I have these shoes, or if I'm in this scene, then I'll be loved and I'll be happy. But happiness and love was always on the other side of me. It was never something I just claimed. I didn't just wake up happy. And that was such a huge change after the near-death experience. Man, I woke up happy just to walk. And I remember, those first steps that I made down the street, when I was in my body cast and I had on ugly old beat up tennis shoes and raggedy shorts that fit over my body cast and this old t-shirt. And man, I had never been happier in my life. I was like, I'm alive. I can walk. There's birds in the trees and it's a beautiful day. And yeah, I was sweating in this horrible body cast, but man, I was happy to be alive. And that joy and that happiness was something that extended far beyond me, and it extended from my heart into nature, into everything around me. I was not just me. I was never alone. I was connected in a way that I was just not connected before my near-death experience. And before, I don't like going there, but I think it's important to go ahead and answer this question and go there. But it wasn't just insecurity and anxiety that drove me, but it was a deep fear of life. I don't know how to describe it other than I knew that there was something more and I didn't understand it. And I was afraid of death. I was afraid of relationships. I knew that I wanted to be loved, and yet I didn't know how to make that happen. My parents had a horrible marriage. They just yelled at each other, and my dad was largely absent, and my mom took a lot of her anger out on me. And I just grew up watching two people be incredibly miserable. So those were the skills that I had, when I entered college. And I didn't know how to love anyone. I knew from what I'd read, I knew from what I'd read about psychology, but I didn't know that I was love. I didn't know that this God force and this God intelligence could work through me and could love me so completely and could heal every cracked wound within me, and that I didn't need a single person in my life if I had that love of God streaming through me. And I didn't know that I could bring in this love of God and work through me. And I think the biggest key to feeling confident speaking in front of people as a teacher and professor, and the biggest key to just being okay as me, was this connection to the other side. Because the first moment that I stood up in front of people at a poetry reading, I asked that God and the angels work through me to talk with anyone in the audience who needed to hear from me. And I briefly told them about my near-death experience. And then I read a couple of poems, and I saw some people in the crowd brushing away tears from their eyes. And I thought, oh, this energy is working through me. And I saw other people who were disinterested or, made judgments about me. And I knew it wasn't about me. My message was not for them. And that assurance gave me confidence to just be me and to be a person who let the light through and let the light through into this world. And I think that's what so many light workers and people are trying to do, is just go, hey, it's not even about me. If you hate me, it's all your mental projection and it's all about you. Like, I'm just here trying to reach who I can and trying to bring the light in the way that I can. And that was a concept that was so foreign to me before my near-death experience. I would have laughed at the self that I am now back then. I would have gone, that woman is cuckoo. I would thought that is just nuts. Because everything was about appearances. Everything was about degrees and what you did for a living and what kind of car you were going to drive and what books you've read and what documentaries you just saw and what music you listened to. It wasn't about your heart and that other side. And now everything to me is about that other side, that love of that other side, God coming in through us, and then what we can do in this world. And so my book is just an attempt to show others that so much can be healed through studying near-death experiences. And even after a near-death experience, when you go through something traumatic, it's always that other side that is there for the healing and there for the healing of the planet. And that's what I want others to remember and to know. So I'll start talking a little bit more about who I was before the near-death experience, because I know that it matters to some people. But I hope you have an amazing week, and may you be entirely blessed.